Between Newbee and CDEC. I am Luminous, and joining me is none other than Restalker from the Dota commentary days. How are you, my friend?
Doing good, doing good. Hopefully, this game 3 is a little bit more balanced than the first two.
Yep, we are casting the Summit 7 Chinese qualifiers. We're in the upper bracket, so even if either of these teams lose out the game, they won't be eliminated from the tournament. And obviously, the winner gets to kind of go deeper on. Later on after this, we'll be casting.
10 seconds to go.
Let me see. We'll be casting IG versus the loser of this game. So IG currently is sitting in the lower bracket, and they'll face they'll face whoever that loses this one. So we're gonna see one of these teams again. And for now, we have a pretty big change of drafting, right? Ricky as the first pick for CDEC.
Yeah, Ricky is probably one of the most annoying heroes to play against. I think I used to belong to Monkey King, but with the recent slew of nerfs to the hero, I think Ricky's a little bit more powerful. The thing with Ricky is he actually transitions into a pretty heavy damage dealer later in the game, once again, assuming one of these teams doesn't get stomped too hard. But yeah, applying a little bit of early pressure, so we'll see if we have any heroes that work well in tandem with the hero.
Yeah, I think the interesting to see is that the first two game, it was just an offensive tri-lane, right? Versus the defensive tri-lane. I think this game is going to be vastly different in that regard because, let me tell you, CDC will not run an offensive tri-lane feature in Ricky there. I think the map is going to be more split open. Ricky is looking to help out more lane to lane. Although it was, you know, we'll see Newbee. Newbee still has the option to run an offensive tri-lane if they want.
Dyer's pick.
Yeah, so we have a Disruptor here. Disruptor's pretty good against Ricky. He's very good against most sneaky type heroes, and he's probably one of the more standard, I think, support heroes that you can open up with. He's just pretty good against the vast majority of heroes with his skill kit.
Yeah, so I think the interaction that you see more commonly is that Ricky gets Thunderstrike, he gets dusted, so he tries to run away. Disruptor then casts Glimpse, and Ricky tries to dodge it with the what is it, Tricks of the Trade? No, Cloaks and Daggers. No, Tricks of the Trade.
5 seconds.
But how
His ultimate, yeah.
How it works out is that even though you dodge, you quote unquote dodge it, you still get pulled back to wherever Disruptor pulls you back to when your ultimate ends. So it's more of a temporary dodge, and it's something that Ricky players will have to learn to deal with. But CDC shows their card. It's gonna be a Ricky Lifestealer combination, and I'm pretty sure Newbee was expecting that. They could have blocked the Lifestealer pick by picking it up themselves, but they elect to give CDEC the combo.
Yeah, I think CDC picked it up early because they knew that if they didn't pick it up there, that Newbee probably would have blocked it. Because you typically don't want to show your carry this early on, but once again, if they didn't pick it up, Newbee probably would have just block picked it, as Lifestealer probably one of the better heroes against Sand King and Disruptor.
Now, I think the other day we saw somebody picked up Lifestealer and the enemy team responded by a TIE Hunter pick, and the Lifestealer just got dumpstered in the lane, right? So I think the danger of picking up the Lifestealer so early is that it gives Newbee time to react, like starting from the laning stage. And we saw what KP was able to do last game with an extremely farmed TIE Hunter. So there are definitely a lot of answers that Newbee could pick up for themselves.
Yeah, that's the problem with the thing with Lifestealer is I think he has very few hard counters. He's probably one of the more if you are ever going to pick a safe lane hero very early, he's probably one of the better options. So that's probably why they were comfortable with going with the hero. Here we see banning out Terrorblade for CDC. So I'm not sure if I'm interested to see why they ban out Terrorblade so early.
Oh, I think it's because it's seen as the natural counter to Lifestealer in the sense that if Lifestealer doesn't pop out in a bomb and kill Terrorblade, Terrorblade just wins every other aspect of the engagement. Because you can't 1v1 him ever, because you can't kill him and he'll sunder you. And then in the later portion of the game, once he gets Scotty, Lifestealer is just not moving.
Yeah.
So
I think, yeah, you're kind of conceding the late game, I guess, if you're going to be banning out the Terrorblade there. Because the thing with Ricky and Lifestealer, I think you can actually get a lot of kills onto these heroes. Of course, that's thinking about an ideal situation. So Terrorblade is probably a pretty safe ban.
Yep. And pretty commonly, Newbee does take out two other vehicle options for the Lifestealer, both the Batrider and Slaughter. Surprised that actually Slaughter hasn't been more popular in the first phase, because generally a very commonly first phase ban hero. So I think CDEC has been banning out Darkseer and Enigma every single game in stage 2. So we'll see if Newbee actually picks up the Darkseer here. I don't know if Darkseer is the best hero to pressure Lifestealer. Instead, they're going to go with Ursa.
Radiant's pick.
Ursa again. That's pretty interesting. Darkseer does work well with the Wombo combo. He works very well with Sand King and Disruptor, of course. But Ursa, going for the opening, Ursa is one of the heroes that I think just man fights very well with Lifestealer. He doesn't care too much if he gets clouded, and it looks like CDC is going to pick up the Darkseer for themselves here.
Yeah. And that's a sick combo, right? You got the Ricky Iron Shell early on to start making Disruptor's life terrible. So, good stuff. They don't really have an insane combo themselves, though, right now.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say is, the thing about Ricky's, the thing with the Invis heroes in general is that they're typically what I call, economy busters. So they're going to be making the support heroes, buy a lot of sentries and dusts and things like that. So they won't be able to work towards some of their other items if they aren't able to actually get, kills onto Ricky or, D-ward using their sentries. So hopefully they're able to buy some time with the lack of economy on the support heroes.
I don't know, whenever I play Ricky, I'm like Reaganomics for my opponents. They buy dust, they earn 300 gold, just...
Yeah, that's the other problem. If they actually get kills, then...
It pays for the dust and then some. But, alright, Newbee is going to go back to the Tidehunter pick for KP, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, it is definitely a very strong lane dominator against Lifestealer. And really, I don't think there is a single support hero that CDEC could pick right now that could give them a good lane versus Tide. So maybe there's an option of dodging the lane for CDEC, sending your Lifestealer +1 up, up on the top lane. But does Lifestealer want to lane against Ursa either? It feels like this Lifestealer is just stranded. There is no good lane for him.
Yeah, this is either you get a very good lane for Darkseer or you kind of throw your Lifestealer under the bus, I think. And that's probably not something that you want to do. I can't really think of a support that's particularly good against Tidehunter in this case.
I mean, Tide just has one level of Kraken Shell, and your support is okay, well, I don't do any damage now, so yeah, Tide's OP, dude.
Yeah, he's pretty good. The thing is, I don't see too many Western teams picking up Tide. Have the Chinese teams, I don't watch too much Chinese Dota. I've just been watching the qualifiers recently. Is he a top pick or?
No, he's not. He's actually, I think he's more of a situational pick. I think last game he was picked for the situation for those mid-game fight. Remember, Ty was standing in front of the Roche pit and they just got Aegis. And then this game, I think he's more or less picked for the laning stage. But again, it's going to be the Ursa plus Ty combo. So we're going to see Newbee, once again, once it gets to the 15-20 minute mark where Ty has to mech and Ravage, he's going to just stand in front of the Roshan pit and make it hard for CDC to come in. But CDC will pick up Witch Doctor, which I think has one of the higher base damage as most support hero goes. And technically has some kill potential if the Casket gets lucky bounces and if you have an early level of Maledic. He could do some work.
10 seconds to go.
Yep, Ricky Witch Doctor is a pretty decent roaming duo if they ever feel the thing is, if you can make some space for the Lifestealer, I think he does eventually pretty decently against Tidehunter. So if you can maybe get up 2 or 3 levels onto the hero, then you can kind of roam around with the Ricky and Witch Doctor and create a lot of pressure. Newbee still hasn't picked their mid hero unless... the thing is, Ursa can very rarely go into the mid lane, so we'll see if it's a matchup. It looks like it's going to be a mid Magnus.
Yo, alright, so before Magnus was all the rage in this patch, I think maybe 6 months ago or maybe a year ago, September, who's going to be playing the Magnus mid, or not September, Shade, sorry. Shade is going to be playing the Magnus mid. He had this build where he went Battle Fairy Magnus, Battle Fairy Echo Saber, what is the upgrade to Calling Blade? Iron Talon? Iron Talon? He was all about them. Ooh, this is going to be a KP Naga, I think. Nope, SD Naga. Right, anyway, so he is going to be farming up a Storm. And he has to, because he's going to be the secondary carry of choice in this game. But Newbee looking to play some Naga Dota. So this game, one way or another, is going to be going long. This is giving me some terrible flashback to the Naga game that we experienced earlier in pubs.
That was Quest Dota. Quest Dota at its finest. So back to this game, I think it's a it's a pretty decent Naga draft. They have heroes that can create a lot of space for her with the Tidehunter. Like all the other 4 heroes are very good at creating space for the Naga, and eventually they can, you know, start getting objectives once the Naga's farmed up here. So it's going to be, the onus is going to be on CDEC to make a lot of plays here and try to shut down the Naga.
And they have a way to do so, right? Ricky just with a Lifestealer inside looking for a Naga. Now, I think actually they could easily kill the Naga as well, right? You just cloud on top of her, pop out with open wounds, right? Look like the Naga's dead.
I think that's the ideal scenario, but the issue is that you can probably do that for maybe the first 15 minutes of the game or so, but after Tidehunter and Sand King get a little bit of items, it's going to be very hard to kind of just blow up the Naga instantly. The thing is, she is a relatively low HP hero for the vast majority of the game, so until she farms up something like an Octarine, and she has a pretty high strength growth, so before she gets those levels, you can probably take her down.
I mean, she has decent armor, which is like pretty important versus Feast as well as Backstab. I actually think it's more up to what Mugi does, right? Imagine if Mugi picks up an early Vlads and Blink Dagger, and instead of you like trying to gank the Naga, he's ganking your supports, forcing you to kind of play on your half the map. I think Naga prefers that the most. So to me, the player to be looking out for is the Ursa, and honestly, judging from how Mugi played in Game 1 and Game 2, I thought he played pretty impressively. So I'm expecting him to do well here again.
Yeah, he played exceptionally. I think the thing with this game that's going to be a lot more different is that Riki's very good at placing observer wards, and the thing with Naga is she's a hero that likes to kind of duck into her own jungle after a certain point and just farm up the jungle. So Riki can get those stealthy wards in, and then they'll be able to go for Lifestealer bombs and get pretty easy kills if Newbee's not around to help her.
Interesting. Demon places a deep observer. We saw Kaka doing this last game. So both teams kind of trying out the same observer spot. Not exactly sure how important that ward was, but early game smoke here from Newbee, looking to maybe scout out Ricky. Like, do they have dust available? They have a sentry available on Kaka. And they have a dust on Sanking as well. Okay. Yeah, they definitely have enough to kill Ricky should they run into them. But the smoke is about to end.
Did they see him there? I don't know if
they dusted him. And the dust actually catches him, but he's just TPing out. Glimpse level 1, selected. Oh, he took Glimpse, but he was unable to cast it. All right, economy buster, man. September is doing it. 90 gold down the drain.
Yeah. Doesn't oh man, dust doesn't cost mana anymore. It's gonna say 5 mana down the drain too.
Alright, calm down. 5 mana gets regen.
Hey man, one time I played against an Invoker like a couple years ago. He EMP'd me and I could not dust.
Man, that is a hard counter to dust. EMP. Alright, looks like I think Darkseid's just jungling. Okay.
That's pretty interesting. Another thing I want to talk about very quickly is that Lifestealer actually went for a very early Blightstone, which is pretty decent against the Tide, but the issue here is he's going to get dual linked, so that's not going to be a good time for him.
Yeah, Caustic in particular, it's going to be pretty rough against him, but again, I think Watch Doctor is probably one of the better supports you could pick in a situation like this.
Yeah, he's alright. He went for a very early point to Maledict, so they can try to pressure him.
Level 1 Maledict, man. Just let it rip. Look at right clicks.
Yeah. I think that's what they have to kind of do at this point. Looks like they're going to try harassing out the Lifestealer, but he should be fine. I think the lane is going to be relatively okay. The issue is when the offlane heroes actually start getting a little bit more levels. Because I don't think Lifestealer's level 2 is particularly good. Witch Doctor does get cast, but it's not going to do too much against these, you know, beefy kind of bruiser type.
It's more of the Kraken Shell level 2 and the Caustic level 2. Like, actually, I was surprised that Demon is able to do. Wait, what happened? I think Shay pushed SC back, but SC just made illusion on his tower, so he's fine. But yeah, the Maledict actually did a lot of work. Kaka now Burrow Shreks in. He's able to trade fairly effectively.
Yeah, I was slideshowing for a little bit, but it seems to calm down.
I also think the nature of how this bottom lane will go is that both heroes are going to be trading a lot. I think trading benefits Newbee because they have a shrine to fall back onto. Whereas CDC, like, you know, if you're out of region, you're out of region. You need to buy more.
Yeah, it's definitely true. And the other thing is, you have to always consider which, who are the heroes that are actually getting these trades. So if you get like a Sand King and a Tide Hunter, and they end up getting maybe like 50% or 60% the farm of the Lifestealer, that's actually like I think a lot better than just getting completely zoned out. So the fact that they're able, even able to kind of contest and eke out a little bit of advantage against the Lifestealer is definitely noteworthy.
All right. Well, so far Shade has the 1 point into. In power. I wonder if he's actually going to be maxing it first. I did mention that he did have a thing for maxing in power and Battle Fury and all that jazz. But, oh, mid lane, Shade might be getting solo killed. SC with the haste rune walking in, blocking him a little bit along the way here. He will have Riptide in 2 seconds, and the haste rune will allow him to keep up. This could be a solo first kill. And Nice Guy even pushes him away, so the TP will not do anything.
Yeah. That was a bit overzealous from the mag there. I think you probably want to level up Shockwave here because you are able to kill the Naga illusions pretty easily, but if Sand King makes these early rotations, then is going to be a little bit annoying for the mag. You might want to get those points into Empower. So I think he's going to wait a little bit to see how the Sand King kind of plays his game. If he notices that the Sand King is roaming a little bit on him, he'll probably get more points into Empower. Otherwise, I think he should be relatively okay against the Naga with just spamming out the Shockwaves.
So very interesting adjustment of play here. We talked about what the Sand King and Tide could do in the bottom lane, but after getting the Tide at quick level 3, Tide is just jungling straight up now. And that frees up the Sand King, but at the same time, Lifestealer could do whatever he wants on the bottom lane. And that also frees up Demon on the Witch Doctor, so he is able to start rotating.
Yeah, I think when they saw that the Witch Doctor had Maledict very early on, that it was going to be a little bit troublesome to lane against him, because I think if he actually went cast level 1, that lane might have been, I wouldn't say lost, but it would have been a lot harder. Getting that Maledict, he ended up taking like 70% of his health like, right away, and yeah, that's no joke.
I'm pretty impressed actually with the level 1 Maledict. It's not something you see too often, but in a situation like this, it definitely worked out, because Tide Hunter is not strong, or not tanky till level 2 with a Kraken. Casket flying out, Kaka will be eating a couple of right clicks, and they have the Maledict as well. Is that a level 2 Maledict? No, just level 1, so it's pretty puny, but with the Blink Strike coming through, they will get the kill. Alright. You did mention that they could roam pretty effectively, but damn, I didn't expect that kill.
Yeah. The thing with that's a really good thing about Riki is that you always want someone who's constantly doing damage as the Maledict ticks kind of go, and they have the Darkseer Ion Shell that they can always throw onto the Riki, as you mentioned earlier. So they are going to have a little bit of kill potential here. They can pressure the Ursa. He's just farming under his tower for the time being. Going back to the mag, it looks like he is going to be leveling up the Shockwave. And as I stated earlier, Shockwave is very good at clearing out the Naga illusions. So if SCCC ever feels like using that to kind of farm up, he can always clear them out.
Right. And let's not forget, you do get a little bit of gold for killing the illusion, so it's not nothing. Top lane. The Circle of Feeling gets dropped, and he is stuck there a little bit for now. They have the Glimpse available, but it's only a level 1 Glimpse, so it was a long cooldown. They will dust up on Riki. Riki trying to juke, and ankles are absolutely broken. He Blink Strike, and now there's 2 Iron Shell creeps just freaking killing Faith. Alright, he's fine too, but 90 more gold down the drain. These guys get the Shrine up. Oh no, Shrine's not available.
Yeah, but that's a pretty decent trade overall, I think. They have a double Ion Shell running on to the creeps there for the Ursa. It's going to make a little bit of trouble. And of course, once again, economy busting, right? Getting the dust thrown out, no kills.
Yeah, let's count.
That's 180 gold.
Yeah, let's start adding up like how much gold they will miss out for all the missed dust and missed entries.
180 gold, man. That's like almost 3 Observe Awards. That's no joke.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Back in the mid lane. I gotta say, SC, after getting that solo First Blood, is actually doing quite okay. He's received absolutely no pressure whatsoever so far from CDEC.
On the bottom lane, we have a little bit of a thing going on to the Tide here.
Yep. That is gonna be a kill, I believe.
Oh, that is a kill. Yep.
Maledict. What a spell.
What? How many points does he have? Yeah, he has got a second point into that. I think if he didn't have a second point, that might have not been a killer. At the very least, it probably would have been a longer chase.
Yeah, Maledict has like such an interesting scaling. Like level 1, it just doesn't do anything, and then as soon as you have that level 2, it's actually like pretty legit threat. Even Tide Hunter goes down to it.
Yeah, And I think that's he probably wasn't expecting the level 2 Maledict, because typically you got 1 point for the early zoning on the offlaners, and then you want to get cast for the control. So considering he's level 5 and he's got decent points into Kraken Shell here, he probably thought it was more safe than he was.
Yeah. SC farming extremely well right now, leading in terms of the net worth. Shay misses his shockwave though, but here comes the gank party. Faith is in position as well. Blink strike. Oh, the song! Ooh, this could be real bad. Sand King's gonna pour in as well. Who do they want? Who do you want? They want the support on the back side. It's gonna be the Witch Doctor. Okay, the Smoke Cloud's gonna be there. They burrow strike in as well. Kaka, though, eats quite a bit of damage to the Maledict. They glimpse him back too! Shade! Gonna be giving him a kill. The nice body blocking coming out from KP. Can they actually get him down? The kinetic field, not gonna trap him. The Cloud's gonna come through as well. Shade taking a lot more damage, but the big tankiness of Magnus allows them to walk away. That could have been actually really bad, but they were able to trade 1-for-1, so not too bad for CDEC.
Yeah, I think it was actually a heads-up play to go for the Witch Doctor. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get him before he threw the cask out there. So that's a bit unfortunate there, because I think if you go for the Ricky, you kind of give the free cask of the Witch Doctor. It makes it a little bit easier for Magnus to do his stuff. So targeting the Witch Doctor, I think definitely the right play, just a bit unfortunate. Looks like he is going to be putting up a few more points into the Empower rather than opting to go back for the Skewer. This is pretty standard ever since Skewer has been buffed, since it has a pretty decent range at level 1 now.
Right.
So he's going to be ducking back into his jungle, and this is what I said. Probably he's going to be ducking back. Let's the Witch Doctor get a couple of levels, and when Witch Doctor gets his ultimate, he becomes a pretty decent threat onto the Ursa.
Well, whenever he's not in his ultimate form, because...
Yeah, but that's the thing. When you Maledict, yeah, that's true. Because if you Maledict the Ursa and then he's in his ulti form, you're not going to be doing too much damage to him. So even when the ulti wears off, it's not going to be doing too much.
A little bit of sentry battle on the mid lane here. Maybe you're going to see a little bit of kill attempt. Casset's going to fly out. They have a glimpse away, but push him back. Ooh, the Skewer got cancelled, but here comes the Ricky. They really want to take in as much damage as they can for SC. That should be the last tick of them. I don't think might be enough here. Oh my god. Alright.
Oh, that was very close. I think if he was able to get a Ion Shell onto him before he started that whole thing.
I think he did have Ion Shell on him.
Oh, did he? Did it just wear off? Okay.
Because he ran from, top lane to mid, so... I think if that glimpse wasn't there to, stop the Skewer halfway, that would have guaranteed.
That was very clutch. Very, very nice play.
But like you pointed out, Ricky has been dropping a couple of deep wards, blocks out this camp. But Naga should be aware of that now, as the camp is blocked out, and maybe a support will deward it eventually.
Yeah, I think he put it in a really good spot, because he kind of put it in a... To be quite frank, he put in a relatively poor spot. It doesn't see too much into the Dire Jungle, but at the same time, it makes it harder to actually deward it.
I think people generally deward by putting it here, right? So it might just miss.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he purposely put it there to... Because ideally, you want to put a little bit more to the left. It gives you more vision, but then it makes it more susceptible to dewarding.
Oh, looks like the Smoke Cloud will miss. And now the Surge, he's trying to juke himself or something. The Iron Shell doing a little bit of work here. Kaka can't burrow strike through. There's a casket. Where's the Maledict? Maledict's there as well. And Kaka, well, he's just getting run down. Yo, TP out as well. Where's the Glimpse? The Glimpse cancel the TP. They drop the Sentry Ward. Alright, 1-for-1 is the trade, but not too bad for CDC. They drew a couple of TP out there, and they're applying pressure. The problem is, SC has been untouched. He's doing whatever the hell he wants to do.
Yeah, this is and the TP wasn't so bad because Ursa just goes back to the safe lane anyway.
Right.
So yeah, Naga's gonna be farming up the storm here very soon, I think. The thing we don't see too much anymore is teams just dropping a whole bunch of sentries in the other teams. Like Ricky can just go and block like 2 camps with a couple observers or sentries, and I think we should be. I mean, I don't know. Is that too much of an idealistic way to think? Because I think you just block a lot of camps when you're playing against a Naga.
Yes and no. I think the fact that the camps got changed, where they don't spawn that frequently anymore, anyways. Maybe it's too much of an investment.
Yeah,
but,
that's a very good point.
Well, remember that move I talked about in the draft, where they just walk into the Roshan pit. If they don't get discovered, they take the Rosh for free. If they do get discovered, KP just stands in front. Now, last time he did have a mech for this. Or last game, rather. But this time, I think the sneak is going to be good enough here. CDEC is now aware of the situation, but way too late. As Newbee should be able to take it down. Maybe they could catch him on the way out. Roshan goes down, and now the song. It's gonna be retreat. In fact, they want to fight this. They drop the static storm. Beautiful storm on KP, so now he can't actually ravage. No, just kidding. That was their own storm. So the ravage does come out. They kill the lifestealer. Now Demon's on the top side. Body block coming out from Kaka. That is okay. That is gonna be a kill. All right, so they get the Aegis. They song set up with the storm, and they get 3 kills on top of that. And now SC will really feel absolutely no pressure after that. He's also halfway to his relic. Really,
yeah, that's what I was going to
start.
mention. They don't have the mech on the Tidehunter yet, but they have the Naga ultimate, and that's always a great tool to have, especially with heroes like Disruptor and Sand King. We saw there, that was that was very well played by the Disruptor. And then when Sand King gets his Blink Dagger, he can kind of actually stay a little bit further back and kind of contribute the same way. So Naga was just a really great pick to kind of round out their team. It lets her secure objectives early on, and of course the wombo combo factor is always there.
I mean, you talked about how the onus is more on CDEC, right? So every fight that they lose like that it's so just backbreaking. And I do apologize for like brain fart, like not the Disruptor was on the Radiant side for a bit. Kaka though looks like he is gonna get caught. Again, they are applying a ton of pressure. It's just the pressure is not on the target that you really want to be. And now SC's on the other side of the map. That's the one other thing that you can't really do about like blocking your jungle. Like SC just says, okay, I'm gonna just farm in your jungle now.
Yeah, I think Naga's kind of gotten to that point where she's a little bit harder to take down. You know, she doesn't have the greatest HP pool, but 1,200 is, you know, almost 1,250, nothing to, you know, scoff at. And her teammates are getting, you know, those key items. They're working towards their thing. You have Tidehunter farming up a double Ancient stack here. Or is that triple? I think that's a triple there that she's finishing up there.
Faith is going to drop the Storm, but, well, Magnus is going to hit him 3 times and almost gets a kill. Nice Shockwave. And Magnus gets the kill.
That's one of those deaths I just kind of give up as a support. Like, I think his team, if they really wanted to save him, they probably could have walked over there, but they're like,
it's a Disruptor.
We gotta farm here, bud.
You know what's that kill on? That's really on the Disruptor. Like, this area, like, somebody told me, the Nexon champion, Aosin, he says, as a support, you never farm here. You never farm here.
Yeah, you don't.
Especially during nighttime. You just die. And, well, let's just say that Faith is not a Nexon champion. He's a TI champion, but not a Nexon champion.
That's true, that is true. Wise words from Yozun.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we have a bit of a congregation atop.
Right, Burrow Strike could be the start up here. Burrow Strike's gonna be there. The casket will fly out though. Demons dropping. Okay, good wall on top. There's a glimpse away. I'm not sure who was getting glimpse away. That was the Magnus, but it looks like they're gonna be able to turn around. That is gonna be his Aegis on Mugi. Now he does have a blink to maybe perhaps get out, but Face on the back line will get chopped down as well. Really good play. No blink out from Mugi here as they pop the Rage. They're looking to right click. Mugi gonna get confused here, and now the congregation of CDEC will punish. That was a 4-for-0 fight. Naga isn't getting punished, but the rest of the team is. And if you look at the net worth, CDC is leading by 3,000 gold. The question is that lead big enough against Naga?
Yeah, the thing is, Magnus actually went for an Echo Saber build, and the thing about Echo Saber is it's a pretty greedy build because it does help accelerate your farm quite a bit, but it kind of acts as like the pseudo Midas. I would say it's a little bit more of a fighting kind of pseudo Midas style, where you can fight a little bit, you can farm a little bit, and then you can work towards your items, especially with that in power. So since they are getting these kills, I think it's going to pay off. He's probably going to get... I wonder what talent he's going to go for here. So he did go for attack speed instead of spell lamp. Sometimes we see people go for spell lamp on Magnus because it lets you one-shot their range creeps.
Right.
But yeah, he's going for the attack speed. He's going full-on farm mode here.
Yeah. He's going to be having the blink queued up. And it looks like Flyby is getting ready to be involved in this game. He took like essentially the first 15-minute off. Has the Hand of Midas, has the armlet, and now they're looking to amp up the pressure. And here comes the first of the many Ricky bombs. They see how the Tidehunter is going to be a tough kill, though. He's got the Kraken, he's got the mech. He will debuff himself with the Kraken. They know he's inside.
The good thing about Ricky is you can't obviously Kraken off the smoke.
Okay, they have vision on him. Are they going to blink in? This is some YOLO big dive. Ooh, this is not a good spot for CDEC if they go in deeper. KP is still inside. Alright, he's caught up on the back line though. They pick up one. Disruptor ultimate again, not doing too much. On the front, they have a 2-man RP. The casket is bouncing left and right. Looks like the death form will get cancelled. The song will be retrieved, but the Meldic, the big Meldic on SC, he's gonna pop. The song's gonna be over. Mugi does actually have to TP out. Meanwhile, we have September going on Kaka. Kaka going into the Sandstorm. Flyby moving forward, cutting off his retreat pops. Nice vacuum back, and that is gonna be yet another 4 for nothing. Alright. That was big. Oh, Mugi actually didn't even make it out. He died in his fountain too. I believe a Maledict.
That Maledict was, it got stocked up pretty high onto him. I think KP kind of held onto that title T for a little bit too long. They probably dropped it a little bit earlier as his allies were teleporting in. And then when he threw it out, it was kind of just awkward. I think he might have only clipped like a couple heroes. And most of his team was RP'd when he threw out that ultimate, so they weren't able to capitalize on that.
I mean, let's be real, at this point of the game, their ultimates are only really strong if they all combo together, right? But the nature of that initiation was, like, they were all split up. Tidehunter was in the trees. Fave had to drop an ultimate to save himself, and, well, Sand King doesn't even have his ultimate, so, you know, they were never really going to combo it off, so I don't really think it's KP's fault. Like, there was no good ultimate option there.
Yeah. I don't think it's his fault either, but I think when they dived really far, I think the main issue was that he ultied at the exact same time that Mag got his RP off. So it was like, sure, you don't have your great combos, but it's better than, you know, getting no spells off when you basically just Naga ultied. That was basically that Ravage could be thought of as a Naga ulti because both teams were just kind of stunned up.
Now CDC turning up the gas super fast. Now the Radiance is online. And that is some next level Super Saiyan animation on the Naga. Dumb pay to win animation. Looks sick, but not really helping the situation right now.
Yeah, I mean, the game's gone slightly worse than I think. Okay, slightly might. It's gone, you know, relatively bad, but I don't think it's, you know, it's not anywhere near the end of the game. You know, I need to kind of reiterate that. So this is where kind of Naga will get to her mass if they're kind of able to do the high ground defense. You know, Sand King, Disruptor, these heroes are very good at defending high ground, and of course, Tidehunter whenever he has his ultimate. So they will be able to hold that for a little bit and let Naga kind of split up the map and farm.
I think the danger what you're running into as Newbee right now is because your early game was so weak on a lot of your other heroes. Yes, Naga will be able to drag the game out, but at the expense of your rest of your team, right? They won't be farming as effectively anymore. Like Kaka, at this point, still doesn't have the Blink Dagger. In fact, he's very far away from that. But Naga, as just Naga does, just have to keep doing what he does. Remember that Naga game we played earlier in pubs, and our Storm was just crying like there's no camps anywhere.
Yeah, that's very true. I would say typically it's not not the worst thing that the Naga farms, but it's a very good thing that you mentioned that most of their key items are, you know, very far off. Here we have Ursa actually being initiated at top here.
Yeah, and when your Ursa dies like this, oh, he pops the rage, tries to TP out. Man, Flyby apparently does a frick ton of damage. He just got melted.
I was just saying earlier, you brought up a really good point, is that it's typically not so bad that the Naga kind of farms everything. The main issue is that the Sand King doesn't have his core items. You know, Disruptor has, you know, sitting at just Arcane Boots. So they're not going to be able to pick up their key items. This is typically why when, you know, you play a position 4 like Clockwork, I see people get like Midas on Clockwork, which is typically, you know, not the best item. Clockworks are very good, you know, fighting here early on, you want those key items, but when you have a hero like Naga, you know the game's going to drag out, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we see some relatively questionable, you know, Midas pickups, maybe like 30 minutes in the game. I don't know, I'm not sure if they can go for it, really. They kind of have to just make sure they're able to defend their high ground, I guess.
Right, like, for example, Kaka, right, like, I don't think he could even consider Hannah Midas. Like, his team just needs him to get a fighting item so badly. So, yes, you know the game's going to drag out, but not sure how much you could do. And constantly, I love the pressure that September's doing. Blink in, they cloud, they open wounds, and this Ursa, who is supposed to be creating pressure for you, is just feeding.
Yeah. I think that phase is kind of a little bit over, and this is what I was saying earlier, with the last game, I should say, is that you should have some heroes with the Ursa. You know, if you have a Disruptor there, one glimpse onto even the Riki. You know, Riki does a pretty decent amount of damage for a position 3 in this game, I guess you'd say. So just glimpsing one hero out can definitely save the Ursa there. So they should be allocating a little bit more support to him.
Or the Tide, right? I think the Tide probably...
anyone.
Well, meanwhile, we got CDC just kind of simultaneously, systematically taking down the rest of the outer tower. And that next Roshan, I wonder if actually CDEC will attempt to get it, because I think that might be the best way that Newbee could make a comeback. They bring Roche low, you know, Song, you take Roche, and you take a team fight there. In fact, though, it's going to be Newbee trying to desperately go into the Roche themselves. I'm not sure if this will work out for them.
Yeah, they're just going for a beeline here. CDC is not really, you know, reacting to this, so it looks like it's going to be Newbee's Roshan here.
Well, Ricky is going to scout things out. Roshan's at half HP. And now, they're going to pop the smoke. They got the RP. They got, well, too late. Newbee takes the Aegis. And the Song should just run, right? They want to fight this.
They should definitely run here.
They could storm on top of him. Oh no, they want to storm the Witch Doctor of all people. Meanwhile, the BKB gets activated. That's why they didn't storm him. The Lifesteal pops out. TI Champ is down. And now, KP is on the run. So far, so good here. 1-for-1 trade. Not too bad here for Newbee, considering that you are so far behind.
Yeah. They did blow Song, so they're not going to be able to reset anything that happens in front of their base. So if their heroes get, you know, dove on, the only thing they have to rely on is basically the Ravage. Disruptor did ulti, but it looks like they're going to be going back to just farming, so not too much lost.
Now, do you think this is more or less like a farming Aegis for this Ursa? Like, can they make
definitely.
this like any aggressive play with this Aegis?
See, sometimes, every time I'm watching a game, like from one of these big tournaments, and I'm like, this is going to be a farming Aegis, I always see the teams do the more unexpected play, so potentially we'll see a gank happening in 2 minutes. Sand King is relatively close to that Blink Dagger, just about. So perhaps if Sand King's able to get a little bit more farm, they can do something with that.
Right. Ursa obviously had his Blink for a while, but I don't think I've seen him like make any type of aggressive play. And CDEC is not going to give them the option to. They're grouping up, and looks like they're thinking about ending the game here, or at least poking at the tier 3 a bit.
Yeah, I think they can do a little bit of damage. The Vanguard really tells the story of how this game is going. Typically, you want to go for a Basher instead of the Vanguard if you're playing Ursa, so
right.
They're just going to play a little bit safe here.
I think last game in this position, he had a Vlad's and Deso on top of that Blink.
Yeah.
Bottom side, it's going to be the Naga getting caught out here. Is there a force to push him away? There is nothing. They get the kill. And is there a punish? Okay, they find the Ricky, but, you know, who the hell cares? No, they glimpse one back. The RP's gonna be there. Lifestealer is inside the storm. Everyone gets pushed out away, though. Shay with the big plays here. Now the Lifestealer is not silenced anymore, and he wins the man fight against Mugi. His Aegis is triggered. And now I think they're thinking about killing him a second time. He blinks away very quickly. So the retreat is there, but the damage has already been done. The mid wave is pushed in. They want to actually go deeper and further. And CDEC getting some critical kills. There is Ravage still available, but you know, just no good opportunity to use it.
Yeah, Sand King also dies when he was about 300 gold or so away
Link
from
Skewer finds the Disruptor. He's done. The wall is going to be there. KP again trying to use that Ravage. I mean, what is the follow-up to Ravage at this point?
I don't know. I'm not sure if they can fight. They should just, you know, defend the high ground. They did a pretty good job there after they lost some key heroes. You know, their tower took very minimal damage, and yeah, I'm not too sure. You know, they did have an Aegis for that fight, so they're not going to have the Aegis anymore. So it's going to be a little bit harder this time around.
I mean, it was the farming Aegis anyway, so.
Yeah. So Ursa is going for the BKB. It's going to make him a lot more survivable against the Ricky Smoke Cloud, that's for sure, because if you have an Ags, you
do you see what's happening? Newbee's farming.
Yeah, they're farming the illusions, yeah.
Dude, this is some, like, bad signs there, dude.
Yeah, they actually nerfed that because his illusions used to give a lot more gold, and then people were just farming, so they're like, alright, we need to get rid of it.
I mean, I still think that was used to be a meme. You have 4 heroes farming the wall, you know, that's not efficient, but
Hey man, tell that to Eternal Envy, man.
I don't know. Has he died farming under the wall?
Probably at least once or twice. I wouldn't know. I would if that was one of the trivia questions, I would answer yes.
ESL has some of the best trivia questions. I remember ESL like took Envy's top animes from his My Anime list. And it's like what anime did Envy rate like, you know, 10 out of 10? That is some that's some real dedication to the craft right there. Alright, we got another smoke gang coming out. Ricky. Oh, Kaka.
Oh man, he's so close. Oh, he's going for a 4-star.
2-man RP, and well, KP's thinking about using that ult, but he knows that ult is gonna do nothing. Moogie's on the run right now. On the right side, TI Champ's down again. He drops his storm, but it hits nobody. Alright, 3 dead. Still got the Ravage though.
And this Magnus is just insanely farmed. He's going for a Daedalus now. He's just going to be destroying those. Like, if he ever is able to just hit a Naga Illusion, all of them are just going to die, like, instantly.
Oh, if he doesn't miss. But,
yeah, it's a pretty decent chance. He's got Echo Saber.
Alright, Rage right-click the buildings. Can we get one Wombo combo? No! Sankey now gets pushed away. Kaka will Bro Strike to the left side, the vacuum back in, and now the Smoke Cloud, so KP could not get off the Ravage as a defensive mechanism. Song being used, they ensnare him up. Flyby literally does not care, just right clicks the racks. And he gets it down. Ravage gonna come out here, they need a fight now. They don't have the storm, where's the epicenter? They look to bring one down, Darksair's out. Okay, the cloud though is gonna be a very big annoyance. Moogie is gonna get right click down. The buyback coming out from the Darksair, and Flyby will take down the remainder of the racks. CDEC is just on a huge dominated fashion here, and they're looking to take the second lane.
I feel so bad for Kaka, man. He was at like 2,200 gold at one point.
He still doesn't have the blink. Oh my god.
No, he's going for 4-staff. I think at this point it might be the right choice. He was so close to it, and then they got that scare onto him.
Shrek gonna be there. They got Storm on top. Pretty good one here, but BKB gets activated. In fact, Lifestealer has a BKB, so there is no respect whatsoever for the Storm. Everyone survives that combo, and unfortunately the Raxes will not survive. When's the last time you've seen a BKB Lifestealer?
It's been quite some time, but this Disruptor is probably one of the few heroes that warrants it, and looks like they are gonna call out the GG here.
Yep. Well, that's it. I gotta say, we don't generally see the mid Magnus too often, but it was definitely a good showing for it. Like, he was just a big force in the mid game.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I think Magnus played well. He just, pushed out the waves, went into the jungle, farming with that Echo Saber, and I think they got, I wouldn't say lucky, but they played very well, and the Echo Saber definitely paid off in the end. And I stated earlier, Echo Saber is kind of that middle ground between farming and fighting. Typically, you'll see it sometimes on a hero like Sven, where you farm a little bit and you fight a little bit with the Echo Saber, and it definitely helped them get a lot of gold. I think he was like the highest net worth by like 2,000 or 3,000 at the end.
I think
he just kind of ran down Newbee.
I think the most impressive thing for me was that CDEC wasn't, like 0 to 60 from the beginning, right? Like they basically farmed for like 15 minutes. Yeah, Ricky was running around doing some stuff, but I was commenting, at least for the first 10 minutes, SCCC was the highest net worth. He was able to get, pretty much true Radiance uncontested. But as soon as Flyby said, okay, I got my item, I got my Midas, I got my armlet, let's go. And then it was just, Ricky ganks non-stop. And that's what really took over the game. Newbee was even able to get a, Aegis or two, but that didn't even matter because CDEC was just able to run their ganks so efficiently. So, very well played by CDEC. They will be moving on, and as a result, Newbee will be dropping to the lower bracket. Coming out next, we got IG versus Newbee as our best of 3, and the loser of that series will be eliminated from the 7 Chinese qualifiers. But that's going to conclude it for this series. Restalker, thank you for joining me for this particular cast. Any final words before we take a short break here?
Nothing. It was just the games have been pretty good. They've been a little bit stompy, but some great stuff to analyze overall. That Maledict pickup at level 1 was really one of the. It's such a small thing, but typically Lifestealer gets kind of dumpstered by Tidehunter. Getting that Maledict, push Tidehunter out of lane, and then it really freed up the Witch Doctor and Ricky to kind of roam around. So heads up play from CDC. Good games overall.
Good stuff. And you can follow my co-caster at DC Restalker if you choose to do so, and you guys know where to find me. We'll take a short break, guys. Not game 2. The next set between IG and Newbee will be coming up. And stay tuned, guys. We'll be back.